Hey guys, welcome to the next video in this series, and thank you for joining me. In this video, I'm going to be taking you through the journey of the preparation and planning and development of my most important and most expensive marketing tool, which is my website. I'm going to be starting off this journey by taking you with me through the planning and preparation for the criteria of what it is that I need and want out of my website, both in terms of content and in terms of format and layout, because it's equally important not just what's being presented on this website, but how that's being presented to accurately depict the services that my business is offering, the value in those services, and to capture that attention and the interest of the viewer of that particular piece, which is going to be my website. And once I have that criteria lined out and understood, I can give that as the baseline for receiving quotes and bids from local developers to actually produce that website, and also the logo that I'm seeking to obtain through that transaction as well. And we can evaluate those both on the company individual basis in terms of quality and the service that they provide, and then also in terms of price to make sure that it conforms to my budget. Now, if you've been watching these other videos and keeping up with me, you'll remember that I have a $5,000 budget for the development of this website. And obviously I want to get the highest quality, most impactful and useful, and if nothing else sufficient in its purpose, website for the budget that I have set aside for doing this. So I'm going to start this off segueing right into just doing a brief brainstorming session as to what it is that I want in my website to be conveyed about my company and its services and its value to the customer itself. So here we go. All right, guys, so just kicking off here, I've opened up a Word document and I've titled it Website Information Notes. I'm going to be using this document to write down the thoughts and concepts of my website and its content and format and information, at least as I see fit, in order to develop the criteria for my website that I think will convey the most accurate and compelling information about my company and its services and its value to the potential clientele that would be viewing it. For your time's sake, I've already done much of this process, and I'm just going to go through at least a few of the some of the steps of the development of the information that I think would be necessary and pertinent to this that I could transfer to developers to help me in producing this. So first off, I just identify the name of the company. I feel like that would be important information to transfer to anybody who's trying to help and conceptualize and develop a website for my company. They have to understand its name and its industry and its purpose, which is somewhat indicative within the name. So I provided that, and I've also, for their convenience, provided my preferred domain name. Now, I have checked, and spcgroup.com is not currently an active domain name, so under my assumption it would be available, and I hope it is so, and that's what I would hope for it to be. So after I've already identified that, I just kind of moved on to how it is I was going to identify the different stages of the format of this. So I'm going to be using numbers. Numerically, I'm going to be identifying the different pages that I think or would like within my website, which, at least and from my perspective at this point, I feel like would be effective and helpful, if not pertinent, to the website and its content and information. And the links embedded within those pages, I'm going to be identifying those alphabetically. And so that's all I'm just stating right here is what those mean and the purpose behind them. And so the very first one, just like any other website, is going to be my homepage. I've started off there. And so as I was thinking about my homepage and what it is that I think needs to be on there, because a homepage is something of, it's a small opportunity for you to really capture the attention of the viewer of that. So the information needs to be rather concise, but rather impactful as well. It needs to draw your attention for anybody who would hopefully be looking at your website that would be a potential user of at least your business, its product, and its service. And so depending on the business that you're in, maybe you're trying to capture the attention of people who maybe might not otherwise be aware of your good or service, or maybe you're trying to specifically tailor to people of an industry of a specific need and interest that your business exists and is out there and is offering a need that, or at least the means to a need that they have, which would be, in my particular case, not just any person who might stumble across this would have a need or interest for structural steel consulting from an engineering aspect, but design teams certainly will. So I have this opportunity to quickly and immediately convey to them the purpose behind my company, and I've identified that through a mission statement. Now, I've already come up with a mission statement, at least as I see fit at this point in time, for my company. And I have it written out as SPC Group exists to improve the production costs and schedules of steel designs through the qualified advice and perspectives of veteran steel trade professionals. So why I found having my mission statement to be important, if not beneficial, on my homepage is there's no better way to effectively and concisely demonstrate who I am, who we are, what it is that we do, because it's all pretty much there in one brief statement that's impactful in my mission statement. So I want that to be sort of the header to my homepage. If anybody reads that, it'll be the first thing that they see, and if it's something that they understand, comprehend, and want to pursue, then they can proceed with the other content and information within my website. So I've also identified the 2 links that I would like to at least be located on my homepage. I'm going to be using 2 free media platforms, that being Facebook and LinkedIn, and I would like to utilize or generate, extend the avenues and channels for people to get in contact with me from those platforms as well by having links to those on my website, and the first of which would be on my homepage. So other than that, my homepage would pretty much consist of graphics, of photos, of things that seem pertinent or relevant to the industry, whether that be blueprints or anything that's architectural, engineering, construction, things of that nature. It would just kind of aesthetically wrap that together and would represent my business and the services that we provide in the industry that we're involved in. And on the second page, I'm going to get into further clarification to what exactly those services are. So if the homepage has kind of drawn you into an interest, which hopefully it has, for any prospective clientele that would even relatively need this, if I've captured your attention, then hopefully you're going to progress onto the services page, and I can get into more depth as to exactly what it is that my business does, what it is that we offer, and how it's going to benefit you, and why you'd choose to proceed to do business with my business. And so I've also headed that page as well. Another brief description to kind of draw the attention of the audience, at least as I see fit in my mind's eye right now. And I've written this out, it's just a brief quote, that the objective of the SPC Group is to utilize the knowledge and abilities behind the full breadth of our resources to increase design viability, improve production and erection schedules, reduce costs, and eliminate change orders. Now again, anybody who would understand the verbiage and vernacular within this, hopefully that would draw their attention, and they would proceed by reviewing just a brief list, a synopsis of the different services of the greatest value that I offer. Now I do want to emphasize trying to bring this list to a very concise number. If I had a myriad of things on here that I did, it might not be so appealing in its presentation. It may look somewhat disjointed, even from the perspective of just my organization. Like, it would be hard to define exactly what it is that my business is trying to do. So I want to identify the biggest and most valuable, not to me, but to my prospective clients, services that I offer to really draw them in, to gain their interest, for them to reach out and contact me, and I can develop a relationship further with them from there. So I've identified the following: that my business provides structural miscellaneous steel design reviews and value engineering. We also provide structural miscellaneous steel design quantity takeoffs and budgeting/estimating services, as well as production scheduling, erection phasing, and scheduling. We provide BIM modeling and steel detailing services, delivery and procurement method planning, review, and staging. And we also do fabrication, erection, modeling/detailing, and material sourcing services. So just in 6 brief items, right, keeping it somewhat short but rather impactful, these are the highest value services my business is going to offer. And I'm trying to hone in on that for the interest of the people who have at least advanced beyond the homepage in their review and interest of my business. And also, same as the homepage, I'm also find it important to, in every page and in every opportunity, incorporate links to my other media platforms, being Facebook and LinkedIn, to try and generate more regular interest. Because if I can get them to tie into those as well, then I can post content on those 2 platforms that's going to be reaching them more immediately. It's going to be more updates. It's going to be more current than perhaps what's going to be just presented every day on my website. So this is another way for me to maintain and establish establish and then maintain contact with my clientele. Now the next page would be the contact page. So if you're kind of catching on to the series of the progression of the development of this, the home page gives we talked about the brief overview and synopsis is just the purpose and existence of my business and the service that we offer. The second page goes into greater detail to the services that we offer and the potential value that it could present to the clientele. And believing me, if they understand the vernacular that's in this, they would depict the value from the services that are being projected. Now, if those things have caught their attention, I want them to be able to contact me so I can develop a relationship and start doing business with them. So I want to give them that opportunity by having a contact page. And on this page, like the others, I have a header on it. Basically, a brief comment that says whether you have an RFP, which is a request for proposal, which precedes bidding a project, or an RFQ, which is a request for quote, which is quoting a project, a question, a comment, or want to know if your experience could add value to our team of resources, we want to hear from you. So again, I'm just kind of clarifying, utilize this page to contact me because I do want to hear from you, and please do so. And I'm going to provide the platform for them to do that by having an area in which they can fill in some information and submit it to me. I will receive that. And some of these areas are going to be necessary that they do include information so I can reciprocate that contact and continue the conversation. I do want to know what their name is, and I've identified all the necessary fields with an asterisk. So I want to know their name, the subject for what it is that they're reaching out to me for, and I at least want to receive a text body from them, whatever that may be. But I will also have included areas that aren't necessary for them. I'll afford an area for them to attach documents, whether that's PDFs or Word documents or whatever that may be, photos, whatever it is that they want to transfer electronically to me for review. That would probably apply to their comment. If they want to fill out their contact information, which would be like a phone number and an email address, that would be appreciated but wouldn't be necessary per se, because I'll be receiving this via email from them, so I'll kind of have an email source from them already, and we can continue those lines of communication. If they want to email me outside of this page, I would recommend that they do so at the email address info@spcgroup.com, which should come directly to me. I'll provide a direct phone number on this as well, and my address where I'll be doing business. That will also be on my contact page for my website. And at least this is just theoretical. This is what I've come up with at this point in time. This is what I see most appropriate and fit and concise. This is what I think really kind of gets to the point of the information that would capture the attention of any potential client that would require or really derive value from my service by doing business with mine to theirs. And that's what I want to do. I feel like in a website in the modern age, you have a brief moment in time to kind of give them a visual sales pitch and a small amount of information as to who you are and why it is they should be interested in utilize you, purchase your services and value. So you really need to make kind of every moment, every square inch count. And I will be attempting to capitalize on that via this format. Now, I'm not a professional in this matter, and I assume that there's going to be some recommendations and consulting that I'll be receiving from the developers in terms of what they believe would be more effective. I'm not particularly privy to the different aspects of how things like search engine optimization are properly utilized and things of that nature to actually generate more channels and viewership of your website, because that's what you want, right? You want more people visiting this to increase your chances of finding potential customers and clients. So I imagine some of this will, to some extent, probably change with their advice, but nonetheless, I was able to develop the criteria preliminarily of the information that I want to be provided within my website, and I can now take this and I can deliver this to developers in my area and start engaging in conversation with them about how to accomplish having this website developed, the content installed within it, and I'll also be talking to them about developing the graphics for my website as well. So now I'd be moving on to how it is I've actually identified the different developers that I've reached out to provide quotes and perspective on actually having this developed. So obviously, I started with a Google search. I looked at the nearest metropolitan area to my location and looked for website developers within that, and just at least at the most basic level started with those that are forwarded with that around me, and I looked at some of their ratings and the comments on that, and I pretty much went from there. So I started off with this one right here. They actually have 18 5-star ratings, which is pretty good. And so I checked out their website and just started digging around through that. And I'll save you again the time of all the different web developers I've looked at in my review of them, but I'll kind of go through that process and try and keep that to the point as well. So I am considering this company right here. It's called Chico Designs, and for a few different reasons. And I can honestly say it's not because of the rolling space background with the cat and the mug. That has absolutely no interest to me whatsoever. But I will say that compared to some of the other websites that I looked at, that theirs does seem to be more presentable, professional, and organized in its content. And if somebody's going to be developing a website for me, I at least want to be able to see that they were able to do so for their own website. And I felt like theirs was more so, and I was impressed by that. They do have good ratings both on Google and on Facebook, all 5 stars, which is very impressive. So that's something to be said about that there. I like that they had interactive content within their homepage, as well as at the top of their homepage. So I can see that in terms of embedding different links and content and things of that nature, clearly this company is capable of doing so, because I can't imagine they didn't produce their own website. Looking at some of the things that they do offer, I was also impressed with the different services that they have. They can develop a website for e-commerce, so you can do things like different transactions if you're selling clothing or small tangible items online. They have app development, so you can have, if I understand this correctly, your own app that can be downloaded to like a cell phone or something, and so that's really cool. So that would be just another tool for you to utilize regular contact with your customer and client base. They offer search engine optimization, which is SEO, which is a process that they use to really optimize the return of your website when a search engine is used, like Yahoo or Google or anything of that nature. They will utilize keywords based off of words that are regularly searched in any kind of type or industry, whatever it is that's happening out there in the marketplace, and they'll embed those, somehow tie them to your website, so its return is much higher in the scale than perhaps other competitors in their websites. So anyways, they offer that service as well, updates and maintenance and online marketing and things of that nature. So I was, for that reason, I was impressed with this, and I also appreciated that they had references. So they put on here other websites that they've developed, and I definitely wanted to take a look at that, because obviously they're going to put a lot of time and effort into making their website particularly appealing and effective, and they have done so. So I also looked at the other websites that they've utilized to make sure that I got the same positive feeling and feedback about the quality of those websites as well. They also do offer graphic design, and we've also talked about this, that I am in need of a logo to be developed. I can't say that some of these artistic renderings that I see right here are necessarily of my flavor or interest, but nonetheless it's a service that they offer, so I know that they can give me a price for it, and it's something that they can accomplish. So I'm interested in that. This is kind of a full package of everything I'm looking for. So this did catch my attention, and they're very easy to contact. I was able to send them some information regarding the website and the criteria that we just developed that it is that I'm looking for. I liked some of this particular format. This gives me some clear demonstration of right what it is that I'm looking for to be improved into my contact page, where they have, like, let's say, a map up here where that you can identify the location, and then these fields for name, email address, and message, things of that nature. It's kind of what I would want mine to look like. Maybe not in terms of color similar display. It wouldn't be identical per se, but this is a lot of the information I'm looking for. So again, I'm looking at their website and comparing it. Well, these things that I want in my website, and every time that I saw that they do somewhat match, I'm like, okay, this is probably a developer I can work with because we already have a similar state of mind. So hence, I'm reaching out to this one. And actually, they were very easy, and I was able to make an appointment with them just online, and that was cool. So I've used this already. You can see that you can get a quote online if you would prefer. Otherwise, you can use some of the shortcuts that they have here for either a quick phone consultation or a quick meeting. And by clicking on this, I was able to select a date, identify a time, and actually lock in with them that I could schedule a meeting with them. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'll be bringing that whole experience to you as well. So some of their websites they've developed that I looked at were this one, this Warren's Expert Spa Repair. I looked at the different pages and links just in terms of quantity and content that they have. Again, they have, right, I kind of like this moving, this scrolling photo that they have, and the simplicity of some of their content about that. It's not a terrible amount of pages, which is good. I don't want to do the same because I feel like you can kind of get lost in that. Some of these are a little bit wordy, but I'd imagine that has to do more of the owner of this particular business and what it is that they wanted within that. And I want mine to be somewhat concise, and I can't foresee that being possibly an issue. So here's another one they've developed. This one has 5 total pages to it, which I felt like was really nice and pertinent, right? He's even got a small list of these are 6 different items of their practice areas. I have 6 different items and services I want to identify. So I'm starting to see some similarities here. They've developed this website for the Glenn Medical Center. It's got a scrolling photo slideshow, and there's got some YouTube video embedments in here, which is cool because obviously I'm utilizing YouTube as a platform for this, which is what you're watching now. I liked their content information, things of that nature. I'm not a hairstylist, but apparently they've developed a website for one, and I've kind of looked this over, and this was very photographic. There's a lot more pictures and videos and things of that nature that are posted on this, and the thing I appreciated about that is I can tell this is a living document. So it appears to me that the owner of this business is using her website, and she has access to it to constantly be updating information within it, which means that she has control of her content, and I appreciate that. And that was something that's actually described within Chico Web Designs. Chico Designs. Their website says that I would have access to my own website to update the content, whether that's the text or the photos or anything like that. And I appreciate that because I sincerely want to utilize that service. Anyways, this one's a weird one, cute cats and hats. Can't say that applies to me at all. But again, I like how this photo kind of scrolls in the background as you're scrolling by it. So I'm also looking at the aesthetics, the presentation, the different content that's included in this. Right here, some social media links. There's even some comments posted in this. So it's kind of developing some active engagement from the user experience, which just draws you more into it. So I appreciate that. This one only has 4 pages, so that's concise. And anyways, as I was looking through this, I was able to resonate with a lot of the product clearly that they've already developed. So I feel like this is a company that I can work with, and I intend to do so. At least see what they're about and what their quote comes back like and what their lead time looks like. So I reached out to them. Now, the other one that I have reached out to thus far is somebody that I've actually met already before. So with my current employer, we went through a process of developing a new website, and it was very educational for us on a much larger scale, working with larger and different companies and them kind of giving further explanation and clarification to the different utilizations of a website. And so that was helpful for me to have that experience prior to this one. But we had a local gentleman, definitely a professional in his trade, who was pretty instrumental to helping educate us in what to look out for, things to be aware of, and how to get the best value for the money that we were spending, which was a pretty fair amount on a website to be developed. So because the answer to every question is no, unless you at least ask, I am reaching out to that gentleman just to see if he would at all be interested in helping me in this venture as well, of helping develop this website. For his own sake and not having his consent, you can see I've kind of eradicated his contact information on here, but nonetheless, my reach out to him reads that Ben, good afternoon, this is RJ Angle. I wanted to contact you first with my inquiry because I was so appreciative of your knowledge, transparency, and willingness to help while we were still working on developing a new website, a project that's been postponed until further notice. That's with my current employer. Anyway, I've engaged in a new marketing and growth initiative by offering design consultation to architects, engineers, and contractors. Doing so gets us engaged in projects and their development sooner and broadens our industry involvement and resource pool. This new effort is being ventured under a different title, though, Steel Professionals Consulting Group, and headed by yours truly. With that said, having a website and perhaps an SEO ad campaign is a crucial marketing tool for this new service, and I was wondering if you'd be willing or interested in helping develop a website for this new venture. The website I'm hoping will be simplistic, but aesthetically pleasing. There wouldn't be any need for original photos either. I know this project is well below your talent and abilities and perhaps therefore beyond your interest, but I am nonetheless curious if you'd consider the project. I really appreciated your help with our previous conversations and would feel comfortable with and appreciate your help on this project too. Thank you, RJ Angle. Now, to this sentence right here, this gentleman is also a professional photographer and a web developer. Hence my reference to that. I don't actually think I would need photos of myself or my staff per se to make this website effective, as much as just generalized industry specific, but very much appropriate visual aids would be sufficient to this. So anyways, I have made contact with at least these two. We'll see how they respond. Ben, my contact, is like I said, he is definitely professional. He works for very, very, very large organizations doing very complex projects. And he was very gracious in educating me and my staff and my current employer really to the different nuances and even the tools, the abilities of websites, since most of us aren't aware of that, right? Knowing what I'm doing, I come from a steel fabrication background, which means that websites aren't exactly my thing, but they're very powerful tools and they need to be utilized properly and well understood. And Ben helped me in a large part in my experience to at least gain an appreciation and some kind of knowledge and understanding of websites and their utilization. So I'm hoping he'd be willing to help me do so again with my own company. But if not, I'm sure I can find somebody in my area, hopefully so, that their services will conform to my budget and will be appropriate for my business. And as I continue that venture, I'm going to bring you along with me and show you how that fares for me and what that looks like. And I hope you'll stick around. So anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that if you're considering a website for use in your business as well, that this was somewhat informational and useful for you. Maybe you can kind of follow my steps if it proves at all to be beneficial whatsoever to developing the criteria and reaching out to developers for your website. As always, if you should have any questions or comments, I would please encourage you to add that to the posting of this video. Please do remember to subscribe and stay tuned for the follow-up and the development of my website. Thank you.